Hi, this is Gracie doing a video, trying to do a video once or twice a week. So this video I'm kind of continuing from my last video, reading a bit from and just talking about this book here, When Dad Hurts Mom, Helping Your Children Heal the Wounds of Witnessing Abuse by Lundy Bancroft. And of course this man has studied these dynamics for many, many years. You know what I find incredible is that many people just don't even see this stuff as abuse. I mean, it's been going on for so many thousands of years that even the women, they don't understand what's going on with them. I didn't. I did not. I actually had to have someone help me, a therapist, clear up traumas from my past and my childhood and things that had happened where there was physical violence that just really put things over the edge. I think most people that have post-traumatic stress disorder, not all of them, they really can't tell when those people are going to have those kind of problems, is there's been enough trauma in their lifetime that finally just something breaks. And I feel like my brain burned out in parts, you know, as far as some things, even technical things. So they just changed. It changes the brain. So I guess that's why I focus on this, because it has such an impact on people, and we're having it. It's from one generation to the next is what's awful. And I do feel like we are coming into a new age where this really isn't going to be necessary, and there's going to be a lot of light shed on it. And part of it is because we are exercising the right side of the brain more, the feminine side of the brain, which hasn't been done until recent times, where, for instance, going back to Leonard Slane's book, The Alphabet Versus the Goddess, where there really wasn't images. There was more of the written word, which stimulated the left hemisphere of the brain, and also the right hand, which is the killer hand. You know, he's a doctor, he's a surgeon. They study these things. So his books made a lot of sense to me, and that's another book. I've brought this book up before, but I'd like to bring it up again because I really think in studying who we are and what's going on with us, why there's so much conflict and abuse and trauma and war, this patriarch is just not working. It just isn't. It's got to be a whole thing, and women are starting to come back up in the world. This hasn't really occurred for at least 3,000 years, if not longer. And our energy, we are one half of the human race. So this is another book that I really think it will help you to read. I mean, I absorbed this book, both his books. I read every note, every footnote, everything. And this is the other book. I hope you can see it. Sex, Time, and Power. I don't know why I'm just getting a little old. I couldn't even remember the title. Gosh darn. Anyway, I'm taking spirulina, by the way, and I'm going to see how that works for me. It's supposed to help with memory and a lot of other things, so even de-aging stuff. So hopefully my memory is going to be better. But these are two books I think are so vital and essential that people really start understanding what's going on. And you know, some of these, you know, it really is, guys, it's I just don't know what to say. Women don't have these tendencies, and it's our species. It's the way we were designed. And why did God design us this way? Well, I had someone recently ask me that question. I think it's because we're designed to have these troubles, and we're designed to have conflict and challenges, so we can grow and evolve and grow past this stuff. As I have probably said before, I really honestly don't think that we can truly become a star-faring people, which I think is part of our destiny, and to go out into the universe and, you know, just like a Star Trek thing. And there are stories that that is already occurring, but really for us to know, we've got to grow up. We have got to put this masculine and feminine thing, we've got to have the balance of both. Both men and women, they've got to develop the masculine and feminine part of themselves. So, and this is why I find this book so helpful, because he talks about this balance in men and women. And boy, there's nothing worse than a man who has not developed his feminine side. Yeah, that's dangerous. And it's just downright dangerous, especially for a woman and her children. So anyway, to get back to the book here, that, you know, I've gotten just two chapters, the one by Lundy Bancroft. And you know what I love? These are two books that are written by men. They are on the side of women. Gosh, isn't that nice? Someone's on our side. You know, someone has empathy and compassion for us. And there are men out there who are high empathetic men. They really are. And this is the way we need to raise our sons, to have empathy and to have compassion and to be noble beings, be protective. I'll tell you, young women or women out there, if you're with a fellow and he's not protective of you, watch out. If you're with a fellow and he doesn't respect you, watch out. It's a dangerous situation for you to be in. And it will not be good for you nor the children that you might have with this individual. So this is something that has to stop. And you know, the courts are all screwed up. I mean, this is the problem. Most people, they just don't understand. They honestly do not understand. So we have to have some enlightenment in this area if we ever, ever, ever want things to change politically and in a global way. I mean, I have to say, I am thankful I'm in America. In other parts of the world, women, geez, they don't have a chance. So, and it's 1/2 of the population. And mothers raising their children under duress is not good for anybody. It really isn't. They can't be the best nurturing mothers that they could be. You know, there's a plaque, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before, that I saw so many years ago, especially when I was in a physically, emotionally, mentally, and I would say spiritually violent relationship. And I saw this plaque one day, and I think it had some, it's where I got my Native American drum, and it said, the most loving thing a father can do for his children is to love their mother. And boy, that sure rang true to me, especially with what I was going through. It is so hard to be the best mother that you can be. And it's not just physical violence. You know, I have learned myself just how insidious and destructive the emotional and mental can be. Boy, they just jab you right where it hurts. And how awful for them to do that, you know. So, I don't want this to be too thick or too dark, because there is light being shed upon these things. In my mother's day, there was just no help for her, really. There was no understanding. And I finally understand my mother. It took a long time. She became an alcoholic, and I'll tell you, that caused some problems. And a lot of women do that are physically, especially physically abused. Suicide's there. So this is a tragic problem in our society that just needs to go away. And I guess one of the things, the light at the end of the tunnel that I see are all these young women going and getting their educations and their degrees, and they will have economical freedom. The best thing that ever happened to me was economical freedom until I lost it, moving to a rural place and amongst other things. So partially I do this for myself and my children and my grandchildren and any other descendants I might have in my family, but I do this for everyone because this is a blind spot in our society. We are so blind to it. And so I'm just going to be one of the people that sheds light on this. So I wanted to do, I don't know, I'm getting long on here again. But I smile, I'm going to try to smile. Oh, where's my boy? I just got to see my boy for a minute, hold on. Hello, little Theo, say hello. This is my antidepressant, right here. This little guy is my antidepressant. He breaks up ants. This is from another book written by another PhD. I don't know where that book is. When I find it, I'll tell you about it. Anyway, that means automatic negative thoughts. This guy breaks it up. He breaks it up. And it gives me an opportunity. Oh, he's just the most wonderful. It gives me an opportunity to practice some things that I have learned, just to find my emotional and mental balance and spiritual balance. So I want to read some things from this book. I've just done two chapters, and I tell you, both of these books, and there's another book, I didn't bring it out, Ross Rosenberg, The Human Magnet Syndrome. It's so important to read. There are a few things I don't agree with him there as far as I do believe that narcissistic personality, usually they're men, can sometimes pick people who are borderline personalities, and those are people who are usually women, not always, but just as narcissism runs in 75% men, I don't know what the statistics are for borderline personality, and they're different, and they are on the narcissistic spectrum, and I do disagree with them. I think that actually, because the narcissist really has the upper hand on his emotions in many ways, I think that they can exploit those people too, to tell you the truth. That's my own idea. And I also actually have watched some other things, and I think maybe I just have watched that there are other psychologists that say that is actually true. So, but for the most part, it's narcissistic personality, and someone over here on the other side, a codependent type person. I see it this way. This side over here love themselves too much. This side over here don't love themselves enough. So I don't know what you do with the side over here because they're into power and control. They really don't want to give it up. This side is so miserable. They go and get help. They seek help. Okay. Now I'm going to just read a few paragraphs here. God, I'm getting a little long. Partner abuse through the children's eyes and ears. You know, we don't really understand, and you don't, especially when you're going through it. God, you think your children are blind, or you hid it from them well enough. I'll tell you, the kids know. Here is, he starts this off by, listen to the voices of these mothers. He's mean to me, not to the children. But later on, they fall apart from seeing what he did. I feel like they're going downhill emotionally. My teenage daughter says to me, why do you put up with the way Dad treats you? I'd never take that from a guy. My son keeps getting kicked out of daycare centers for being too aggressive. My husband says I just wasn't cut out to be a mother. Boy, I heard that about my own mother from the person who abused her severely. She just wasn't maternal. My mother was. My mother did not have a chance. The school says I need to give my children medication because they have been diagnosed with depression and attention deficits. No one has asked me anything about what's going on at home that is putting them under so much stress. See? Society is still so very blind to this. My children are furious at me for leaving their father. He told them I made up lies about abuse because I wanted to be with another man, and they believe him. So those are a few of the things that are used. And I do think that sometimes women who are abused, especially physically, will find another man. I mean, they are so desperate. They are so depressed. They are so lonely. They turn to what they feel is love. But usually, you know what? It's the same kind of personality, unfortunately. Until you get those traumas cleared up, and it takes therapy, and it's really hard work, there's not a clearing. There's not a clearing to see the light of day. The pages ahead bring you inside the world of children who are exposed to a man who abuses their mother. When I write about abuse, I am referring not only to physical assaults and threats, or even the most obvious forms of verbal degradation or humiliation. I am speaking also of an atmosphere where mom is disrespected by dad, where her voice is silenced, where she is bullied, or made to feel worthless or treated like a servant. I've been stopped in mid-sentence in front of my child in the last instance of this kind of stuff, as if what I had to say was absolutely not important. And I really feel that that's what that child learned about me. I didn't have anything important to say. And matter of fact, don't even finish your sentence. It's just frickin' rude. Okay. Now, when a man repeatedly treats his partner in this manner, he sends shock waves through the whole family in ways that not only bring distress to the children, but also can foster tense relationships between mother and children. And so this woman who is abused also in a way loses her children, and it is really distressing. And but also can okay, where was I? That not only bring distress to the children, but also can foster tense relationships between mothers and children and sow divisions among siblings. Life in the family changes when a man's abusiveness enters the picture. So this is getting a little bit long, and I'm still just on chapter 1. You know, there's so much to this. Maybe I'll do some more of these. I may do this for a while, because maybe there'll be enough videos out there. You know, I'm going to do videos as often as I can. And really, this is okay, because this is shedding light on something. And, you know, if there's one purpose I can have, it can be for my children and my grandchildren. It helps me keep going, along with the dog. And that I might be able to help someone else, maybe a younger woman. I think if I could have known these things when I had finally had economical freedom through my work, but if I could have known this back then when I was 45, boy, would my life be so different. So that's something I can do, is to help somebody else. So I'm probably going to do some of these, and if nobody watches them, okay, but maybe sometime or another someone will, and it'll be somebody who needs to hear these words, because they're going nutso and crazy, really feeling like they're insane, and they don't know why, because they haven't gone to a therapist yet to find out, you know, someone's stepping on your toes and it doesn't feel too good, and this is perfectly normal, you know, for you to be upset. It's okay. Even okay for you to be angry about it, you know. So, our society is never going to change here, folks, if we don't start clearing up these family dynamics. Just ain't not going to happen. So that's part of my mission I kind of have here. And I'm going to try to smile more, because I don't smile enough. And so I'm trying to practice that. And I'm going to do more of these. And, you know, the truth is okay. This is the truth. These people like this guy, They've been studying this stuff for decades. At least this guy has a big heart for women. He even says in there, you know, in this book, I'm not going to tell you what to do like most people will do. You know, a therapist, well, my therapist told me, run. You're going to have to leave him. Run. Well, maybe that wasn't the best thing for me to do. I don't know. So at least he has a heart for the woman where everybody wants to tell her what to do. Everybody wants to tell her what to do, where she's had someone else degrade her so badly, humiliate her, made her feel worthless, so they could have power and control over her, even right down to her emotions. Her emotions, hey, don't have those emotions. They're wrong. They're wrong. You should feel that. You know what? That's another thing. People feel their emotions are wrong. Your emotions are not wrong. They aren't wrong. They're okay. Listen to them. It's what you do about it that is important. But listen to them. They're information. You know, we have the left brain hemisphere. Boy, I'm already at 21 minutes. But this stuff's important. And it, you know, it's factual and does beautiful, wonderful things in this world, and it's brought us the technology. But there's other information that comes from the emotions, that is an intelligence, that if you don't have that, all this other stuff means nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nada. Nothing. So we need to develop the right side of the brain more, let it see the light of day, so we can integrate the left and right hemisphere. So we have a whole information, we have a whole intelligence. It is really what makes us human, is that we are feeling. You know, we're not robots. So, anyway, this is what I'd like to do, is bring the light of day. And I think that it is happening, and the more light that can be shed on it, the better. And I'll tell you what, love to all, and I'll see you on the inner and feel you in my heart.